overall, I wouldn't say go get your license first because it is a distraction, right? You're not learning how to do anything with investing. You're simply learning how to sell properties. That's it. But it does help if you are doing a lot of deals in your area. Even just buying deals now will help. But I wouldn't start off doing that.
All righty, folks, it is my pleasure to bring you the one and only Casey from Brick by Brick Wealth. She has been a contributor to the ORaaT family for 3 years now. She's been at the last two ORaaT events in Vegas as a featured speaker, and I'm sure we'll come back for year three, which is always amazing. Casey, thanks for being here.
Really excited to see your school community. So thanks for having
Yeah.
me. This was fun.
Oh, absolutely. For the few of them that don't know who you are, or maybe watch this video in future land, give us a quick background, 3, 4, 5 minutes, who you are, what you've done. Tell us your story, and we'll get into some other stuff.
Sure. So I live in Memphis, Tennessee now, but I was born and raised Southern California. So I'm an Inland Empire, Orange County girl. And my dad was he was an entrepreneur at heart, never quite made it. So I always had like my dad on one shoulder saying, don't go get a real job, go do something else and make your own money. The sky's the limit. My mom's like, I'm a nurse, do something steady. You have to support husband's wild dreams like this guy. So I had on both sides of my shoulder, what do I want to do? And of course, dad's opinion of being an entrepreneur was obviously more appealing. But I still went to school. I got my bachelor's degree and I got my first real job in Newport Beach. And I was driving an hour and a half to work in the dark, coming home an hour and a half in the dark, crying and like, this sucks. Is this what school like prepared me for? A shitty life where I have to wake up and leave in the dark and come home in the dark? And what if when I have kids, how am I ever going to see them? So this was not what I kind of expected real life to be. Needless to say, some funny business happened with that owner. So that company, amazing company, was shortly dissolved. And it was my opportunity to do something that I loved. And I had always loved real estate. And even just as a teenager, wanted to go into every single open house that you could see. I wanted to look at all the new builds that they were building, in Corona and all the way going down from Los Angeles down to San Diego. I wanted to see everything. I was just enthralled with houses. So I got my real estate license. Like, what? I'm going to be a realtor. So I got my real estate license in 2007 before the wonderful market crash. And it was really hard for me to get real listings because I looked really young when I was in my 20s. I mean, I looked like I was 15 and I'm 5'2", so that didn't help. So a lot of these 60-year-old multi-million-dollar Orange County property owners didn't really want me to list their property. So I had a tough time with that. And so I found my niche working with real estate investors because I had a friend who worked with them and he introduced me to his client who I found a buddy. So then now I'm finding short sales, foreclosures. I'm the one using my gas and driving all around California finding deals for investors. And I realized the power of investing. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Now I didn't understand creative finance at the time. So I didn't know how people were buying a $800,000 home, putting 400,000 into it. Like, where are they getting over $1 million cash to do this? I mean, I was writing the offers cash, right? I don't know how they're doing this. So I go, well, flipping's not for me, but, maybe one day, maybe one day. Oh, funny story. So when I got my license, I was serving too. I decided to serve. I was a cocktail waitress at an awesome, fun bar. And I said, me and my dad are going to flip a house. We're going to flip a house. So they approved me for a $750,000 loan on stated income as a part-time cocktail waitress. So that's how stupid lending was back then, that they were really going to approve me for a loan. Now that property had a bunch of like issues during the home inspection. We backed out, like wasn't worth it, a bunch of roof problems. But that was like my introduction to, are we going to do something like this? Anyways, let's fast forward several years. Did real estate, did the agent thing, and decided that I was going to move to Tennessee with my family. My husband got offered a dream job. It wasn't dreamy, but it was something that he wasn't he didn't have experience to do, so no one would really hire him except for his best friend that gave him this great opportunity. So I'm like, great, this is how we're going to get out of California because we can't afford to buy a house here. I mean, a starter condo is $400,000 and we didn't make enough money for that. So we moved to Memphis, and that's when I saw this gold mine of properties. Now, if you ever see Memphis real estate, you're like, oh my God, there's a house for $5,000. I want to buy that. And so I decided I'm going to go buy these houses. So we get in our car and I'm going to be the monopoly guy and I'm going to buy every house in the block. I'm going to be rich, right? This was it. We barely even get to any of these houses. And I'm like, get out of here. So I realized, quality is important. And it's not just the price of the house. We're not going to go buy some $10,000, $30,000 property. Not happening. I don't want that. So that's when I really decided I've got to buy a real house, and they cost more money. And my husband says, where are we going to get this money from? So I know Michael will ask me that story later, how I got money for our first property. So we'll skip that for now. But anyways, we bought our first rental property, and our, strategy is just buy one a year, easy peasy, quality over quantity. We did a lot of sacrificing, not going on Disney vacations and all those things, because that was the promise. If I got to move out, if I had to leave my family, even though I wanted to, but leave my family, my sister, my best friend, and come to a state where I knew nobody to raise my little kids, that I would get a house and a pool. And I got my house. It's 12 years later. I've got my pool and we're financially free. I've only in the last 2 years started making my own income from my coaching program because my kids are school age now, so I got more time. But otherwise, we did all of this on a single income. He wasn't even making six figures for a long time, so it's not like we're some high income earner. And just kind of the moral of the story is you can do it, and real estate just takes time. It is not a super fast thing. I mean, we bought our first property 9 years ago now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's so much about your story that I love. Again, the fact that you've earned financial freedom at 9, right? Dion, we talk about all the time. I think he's at 18. It might be 16. I think it's 18. But 9 is the way to do it. One a year, right? We call that one rental at a time. Right? It's definitely in my sweet house for great stories. But the thing I love most about your story is the start, right? Again, you make a family decision to move from Southern California to Memphis. You go from 2 incomes to 1. You start a family, right? I think you go to Memphis and you have 2 children already, or 1?
Yeah, we had 2. We moved. Jace was 3 weeks old. I mean,
Yeah.
on the dot. They wanted us to move here and have my baby here, and I said no. You're gonna wait. I have my baby in California with my doctor, so we made the company wait another month. But I mean, it was like on week 3, we flew him out with my 2-year-old and a cat, and that's a fun story if you ever see me in person. How do
There
we
you
get a
go.
cat in an airplane?
There you go. We'll tell that story in Vegas. But the reason I love the story so much is, again, you make family decisions, and you don't lose that vision or dream of real estate. And you and your husband have a conversation once you go see these $5,000, $10,000 house and go, no thanks, we're out of here. Um, and your husband says, hey, honey, the down payment's not coming from me. And
That's
you
right.
you look at that situation like, okay, I got you. All right, you take care of the bills. I'm gonna go find the down payment. And tell that story of trial and error, ultimately ending up in an Etsy store, and years later you get the down payment from what today is called a side hustle. I just love that story.
Yeah, yeah. This right here used to be my Etsy craft room. Now it's my real estate room, and it's like all pretty for being on Zuber's channel. But this used to be my craft room. And when we moved here in 2013, had the 2 little kids, and even though I got to be a stay-at-home mom, if any women are on here, I mean, I was depressed. Like I was crying all the time, want to kill myself. Like it was pretty bad. I realized later, after time has passed, kind of how bad that time of my life was. I got what I wanted. I got to be, with my kids in this big house with a pool. But remember my dad on my shoulder, the entrepreneur. Remember that? So that being a mom wasn't enough for me at the time. I needed to make money. That was my thing, to contribute more than just being a mother. And everyone says, don't say just being a mother. I know. Now my kids, we homeschool them. Now I want them home all the time, and I want to be with them all the time. But before I needed to provide financially. Like that was just how I was raised. So when we moved here, I really wanted to buy a rental property. And Blake's like, Casey, we just bought this fixer upper house. Where are we going to get money for a down payment for one of these $100,000 properties? Like we don't have an extra 20, 30, $40,000. And I'm like, like nobody's going to tell me no. I'm a Taurus, so I'm very stubborn. And I'm not even going to tell myself no. Like, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to get what I want. I always get what I want. I'm going to do it. So I said, all right, I got to make some money, but I'm not going to work. My best friend, she works at Starbucks and she still does. And I said, I'm not going to go work at Starbucks. I'm not, going to get a 9 to 5 job. So how can I make money some other way to get income so we can buy a rental property? How can I kind of have my cake and eat it too? I want to stay home with my kids, but I want to make income. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to do any of those, pyramid schemes or belly bands or sell, vitamins. Like, no, my dad did Amway back in the day, and I'm not doing any of that.
Mhm.
So I decided, well, I can make stuff on Etsy, right? I'm not very creative, but I came across this thing called a Cricut machine or a Silhouette. Basically, it's a vinyl die cutter machine, and you can input a design into a program and it cuts it out on vinyl. And that's how come you might have seen like bachelorette shirts. If you've ever gone to Disney, you've seen everyone having matching Disney shirts, that sort of thing. So what I did was I bought that machine. It was $300, and I hemmed and hawed about buying that $300 thing for about a month. I said, I don't have $300. I'm not, what if I don't make any money from this venture of, trying to sell things online and make things? And Blake said, Casey, at least you'll have learned a skill for the family and you can make stuff for our family. I'm like, oh, you're just wonderful. So I said, all right, I bought the $300 thing, which was a lot of money at the time. And I started my Etsy shop and I sold things anywhere from $5 to $25. I mean, they were little cheap things. I bought blank items, and I personalized them. Sold them on Etsy, sold them on Facebook groups, local Facebook groups, resale sites, and I would do porch pickups. In about a year and a half, I had a 5-star Etsy shop with like 1,500 items sold. That was just online, and I had
Wow.
saved up $20,000 plus or minus about 20,000 in a year and a half. And I was like, all right, that's it. That's enough. We can now we can go buy our rental property. So after a few years, I put my Etsy shop on permanent vacation mode. Once I realized, well, I'd rather make $400 a month on one property than spend however many hours it takes to make one $5 or $10 item. And I'm literally bleeding, cutting myself on accident with these X-Acto knives and spending hours up here. It gets hot up here, in the summertime. And so all my stuff now is in my craft closet, and I let my daughter play with it.
There you go. Again, I love this story, right? Perseverance, creativity, being not, somebody telling you can't, you figure out a way. 18 months to save 20 grand. So that's, rough and tough, $1,000 a month profit. And, the journey begins. And, you just let the snowball work, and 9 houses in 9 years is a very, very cool story. So I'm gonna actually, I have more topics, but we'll just jump ahead because I want to make sure the audience feels like they're playing with this. We got a question or a comment from Jack. Is there any way in the future to have Casey's husband on? Blake is his name, so we can hear his story. What do you think, Casey? Do you think he's
Oh
too
my God.
shy, or do you think he'd come on?
You know, uh, he doesn't even have a social media account.
I know.
He never talks to people about real estate. Like that's my thing. So
Right.
I don't know. I can ask him, but if he did, it would be a first time.
There you go. Well, we'll ask him. Maybe we'll put him up. If he doesn't like doing Zoom like with all of us, maybe he'll do 10 minutes in front of the ORaaT community in Vegas because he comes out with you. So
Vegas, yeah.
yeah,
He
he's
does
he's
come. I
he's
bring him with me. I make him come with me every year.
yeah, he's a lot of fun. We'll do one more question. Or actually, these are just comments. Jen says, "I totally get it, Casey. Moms also need their own identity. You got a lot of fans out there. Fastest way to get a Taurus to do something is tell her she can't." So I thought that was pretty cool. Where do I want to go next? Let's actually talk about something you opened with, right? You got your real estate license in California. I see it behind you on the shelf there, so it's still in effect. Um, but let's ask this question this way. Let's assume you're a full-time employee and you're on this channel, so you want to be a real estate investor. Do you think it's advantageous to get your real estate license, or do you think it's a distraction? Any thoughts on that?
So my thoughts on that have changed since the new commission rules have changed last year.
Mhm.
So, but but still kind of yes and no. So I help a lot of new investors with their first rental properties. And I get a lot of the question of, should I get my license first? Or, oh, I'm getting my license first. I'm like, why? That's going to take you however long to get your license. And you're going to go work for a company, and you're going to sit at the front desk, and you're going to be forced to do open houses and come to weekly meetings and forced to show your marketing materials. Like, that has nothing to do with investing. So really, when you go to real estate school, they teach you how to sell properties, for homeowners. They don't teach you diddly squat about investing, what makes a good investment property, like criteria, like good neighborhoods and appreciation and, cash flow and all. They don't teach you any of that. So the benefit of it is the benefit of having your license is you get the key to get in. That's the benefit. Now, before the commission change, I would always tell people don't get your license unless you are flipping and you are doing multiple deals a year. It'll cost you about, I mean, I don't know if things have changed, $2,000 a year to get your license, keep it active with all the NAR fees and the lockbox and all the things. So, and you have to show up to meetings and stuff like that. There are companies where you don't have to do that, but if you're a new agent, you're not getting any support on contracts and new rules and regulations. So if you are new, you need to go to one of the bigger companies that offer all the support. So before the commission change, I would say definitely don't get it. It's a waste of time. Buyers are, having a buyer's agent is free. Just go use them and work on getting to know how to do investments. Well, now that's kind of changed. So my position on that's kind of changed because now we're responsible for paying our own agents, although sellers are still paying, but who knows, they may not. And unfortunately, the whole reason why they changed that structure has kind of backfired because now commission absolutely plays a part in the purchase price and negotiation of a property, whereas it didn't before. So that's stupid, but whatever. So if you are planning on buying and selling a lot of properties now, even just a few, I would say in your area, get it. Now, if you're investing out of state, don't get it because you're going to have to hire somebody anyways that's local to the market. You can't really represent yourself if you live in California and you're buying in New Jersey. But otherwise, overall, I wouldn't say go get your license first because it is a distraction, right? You're not learning how to do anything with investing. You're simply learning how to sell properties. That's it. But it does help if you are doing a lot of deals in your area. Even just buying deals now will help. But I wouldn't start off doing that.
Yeah, it's funny, right? In One Rental at a Time, my book, I talk about the fact that after I left work in 2018, I did get my California license. It took, I don't know, 90 days or so, did it online, passed the first time. But to your point, they really just teach you the paperwork, the ins and outs, all of this. The reason I wanted to get my license, this is what it boils down to me, is why do you want it? I hear things like I'll save money. I'll get faster access. I wanted it because I incorrectly assumed there was information hidden from everybody else, right? The agent notes and things of that nature. And, very quickly after getting my license and devouring what was in the MLS. And again, remember, folks, I was in one market, right? Fresno, California. I was like, oh my God, I already have, 99% of this information. The one field I don't have is, agent details or agent comments. And I'm like, there's almost nothing ever there. So, I did not renew. In California, I think you get it for 2 years. I decided not to renew. The other thing is, the thing that they hammered on the California exam was basically in any transaction, because you have your license, you're the expert, which is just a higher bar. And I'm like, dude, I want none of that. I want to be creative. I don't want a license to increase my risk in transactions. So I got the license. I wish I didn't. It was time and thousands of dollars that I could have saved. But I do think it really comes down. I do like your twist though, given the buyer's commission thing. If you're going to be doing lots of transactions in your backyard, I do agree with you. Maybe there's something there. But yeah, the last thing I'll say about this is too many people, and I'm not saying this is the viewer, but I'm saying too many people have come to me. They think getting a license is like the next step to becoming an investor. And as you said, no, that those are separate paths. If you want to be an investor, get a buy box, get discipline, run your numbers, meet new people, figure out lending, learn creative. There's all these other things you can do. And getting a license is none of those steps. It just feels busy. It feels like you can tell people, oh, I'm doing something. well, you're not doing anything that matters. So that's what my thoughts on it. Any thoughts on that, Casey?
No, I mean, I think we kind of said it all. I would not go out and get my license now. I've been in Tennessee for this will be my 12th year. I just think, how old is Jace? Okay, that's how I do it now. He's gonna be 12 in August, so and we moved in September, so 12 years come September, and I still have my California license active. I still pay the renewal on it because I'll use it as a referral fee. I'll get a referral fee on my properties that I buy myself. Like at least I can get that, you know. And since I have
Yeah.
my broker license, I don't have to be under a company to do that. Now, I did just fill out the paperwork to sign up for my Tennessee license because again, the control, I like to see properties when I want to see properties. I'm the better negotiator, like hands down. How many times can I tell an agent exactly what to say and they don't say it the right way or they give too much information? So I'd rather just kind of do it myself at this point. So, and I was going to do it in 2015 when we moved here. So I already did all the continuing education. I did all that stuff. And apparently it's still valid almost 10 years later. So all I have to do is take the test. So I'll have to do a cram course because I'm sure I don't remember some of the stupid things they ask you.
There you go. There you go. Actually, Jeff asked the question. To date, all of your have your loans to date all been conventional? Have you used DSCR loans, or just you're
They
still
have
under
been all
10?
conventional. They have been all
Yeah.
conventional. We want to max out Blake's ability so that he doesn't have to work if he doesn't want to. Might as well use them, you know.
Yep.
But now that we have multiple businesses and I'm self-employed, it's our file is very complicated.
Yeah.
So I'm saving our last conventional loan. I mean, I could get one, I can get some on my own, but we're saving our last one for a better, bigger primary or a lake house or something that we have to qualify for.
Yeah.
Otherwise, moving forward, we will be doing DSCR loans because we're just
Yeah.
too complicated.
Yeah. My favorite DSCR loans is Convoy Home Loans. They're on the channel all the time. They've helped me and continue to help me. But there are plenty of others, so find one that works for you. Um, Jen asks, are you doing deals off the MLS? Have you had anything creative?
So funny enough, you know, word of mouth when you tell people that you buy real estate, even just the neighbors of the houses you own, like we have 3 sets of houses where we own houses next door.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like concurrent addresses that are in
Wow.
sequence.
Nice.
Literally right next door. It's really funny. It's really weird, but you know, I don't know, the universe thing. I think a lot. Anyways, I won't get into that. But so we own one house, and the neighbors know, and when they want to sell, they call us, and we buy it. So we bought some off-market deals that way with my one-page purchase price. Like purchase, like
Purchase
offer
contract.
letter.
Yeah.
Purchase contract. Yeah, it's one page, and we do it. And not like California is like 2 inches, you know, to buy a house. But you know, in Tennessee, if you just do it yourself, you don't go through a realtor. It's just one page, and we did a few like that, and that was really easy. Otherwise, we haven't had to do anything else creative. I was offered some seller financing deals from members in my Memphis investor group, but they weren't what I wanted. So, and I'm quality over quantity, and a lot of some of these deals come from not the best parts of town. So passed on those. So we haven't really had to. Everything has been off the MLS and we renovate and fix it up ourselves. We don't cash out refinance. We keep the equity in our properties because we want to keep the payments low so we can cash flow more, you know.
Yeah.
So we are
Slow and
considering
steady.
doing a portfolio loan maybe
Yeah.
to do buy a business or something like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
just leaving it alone, you know, really kind of makes us a lot more money.
Yeah.
So,
No, again, right, slow and steady. It takes a decade, right? It's just it compounds, cash flow builds, the income stream builds. Again, this is just proof positive. You don't have to do the fancy things, right? You don't have to do mailers, door knocking, texting, all of these things. But again, you run across wholesalers, you look at deals,
yeah.
and that's really what your job is, to find the deals. Let's talk about one of the ones. I think it was on the MLS. It might have been deal number 8, maybe 9, where you saw a quality house. It was listed at, I don't know, I don't remember the numbers, but at some unrealistic price. They had a price drop, and then you went in substantially lower, right? Today we call those disrespectful offers, but you just knew your numbers and you were comfortable getting it done. It was on the MLS, and tell that story.
Yeah, so this was number 9. It was last year. And I mean, last year was a seller's market. It was, and in some areas, it still is a seller's market out there, but it was a seller's market out here. And it was not in Memphis. It was in a different city right outside of Memphis. I'm trying to get better properties. I'm like, let's check out this new market and learn it. And I said, okay, well, I really like this neighborhood. It's definitely an AB neighborhood, great schools, high demand. And there was a house on the market there, and the photos weren't the best. And I think they wanted 259 or something like that. Um, and I said, it's not worth that. So in my mind, this is one thing a lot of real estate agents that I can't stand is that they will always think everything's worth list price. Makes me want to puke. No, just because it's listed and an agent listed it doesn't mean it's worth it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes me so annoyed. Um, anyways, it's my lake house lady. I'm dealing with that. She thinks everything's worth what the list price is. I'm like, it's been on the market for months with no showings. Okay. Sorry, I'll get off my horse. So it was like a $259,000 property, something like that. And I said, I did my own numbers. I ran my own comps. I said, it's not worth that. And I said, in order for us to cash flow, we're going to need to get it in the low 200s. And it was a smaller house for the area. It was a three, 1.5, but so small for that area. And I think we offered like 210 or something like that. And then it's been a year now. I forget exactly how it went down, but we ended up getting it for every time we had an interaction with the seller, we dropped the price and we asked for 2% towards closing costs. And we asked them to fix things in the inspection period. And I ended up getting it for like 204 with 2% closing costs. I think it shows like $201,000 purchase or something like that.
Nice.
But in the transaction, I started feeling bad because like the homeowner was a policeman and he was like, he had a family and they were buying their next property. And I'm like, oh, I'm just like really taking advantage. I felt like I was starting to take advantage because I knew the deal was so good. And he had a motivation, he wanted to leave and the property was on the market close to 30 days, which was not normal for the area. And the problem was that there weren't very good photos of the property.
It's so funny
And
sometimes
yeah.
when properties sit on the market, they can be for the silliest reasons. Bad photos from like I bought several properties with bad photos. I've bought properties that didn't take like I bought a property one time that had a full on second house in the backyard that was not pictured, right? It was today we call those ADUs. You just when you got a bad agent, it really can cost some money. Also, I love the fact you knew your numbers, you stayed true to it. You got the closing cost credits. You got. I can only imagine what you would get today, right? That was a seller's
Oh
market when you
yeah.
did this deal. Today's a buyer's market in lots of the country, not the Northeast, obviously. But this is just discipline. You knew your numbers, you did it yourself, you kept grinding, you knew you got the credits, you did all of that. So that's what everybody needs to do. That's the secret. List price means nothing. Right. That's why we have these things called wish pricing. That's why we have 47% delisting increases. If you want to sell, I'm not going to buy from you. I want to buy from people who need to sell. And the first time you find somebody that needs to sell, that's when you get the opportunity. So again, if you're looking to buy today, don't try to buy from somebody who wants to sell. Buy from somebody who needs to sell. Right, Casey?
Yeah. And don't always listen to your real estate agent, And when they want to push you, a lot of times the thing that irks me too is they'll say, we'll write up whatever you want, whatever offer price you want. What do you want to pay? And I go, what's it worth? Show me the comps. Well, what do you come with? No. What do you think it's worth? Why don't you tell me, since you're supposed to be the expert? What do you think it's worth? They never want to tell price on what it's worth. And they'll send you a list of comps, but it's up to you to come up with a price, which I don't understand because when I was an agent, I did not work that way. And then they go, well, it's worth what they're asking. And I say, it's worth what a buyer's willing to pay. That's the
Exactly.
bottom line. They can ask whatever they want. They can put whatever they want, but it's really worth what a buyer is willing to pay for it. And if it's in the market with no offers, how can you tell me it's worth that? It's only worth what someone's willing to pay for it. And there are no offers on the table. So I'm offering less. Don't get butthurt about it.
Yeah, love that. Love that. Let's go to one of the comments. We got a question from Lars. I don't think you've done this, but I'll ask. Have you ever Airbnb a property? We'll just stop there. Have you ever Airbnb or always a long-term rental?
No. So as Michael knows, One of my forever things is looking for a lake house. If I get my lake house, I will Airbnb it because I just can't. I can't not do it. The investor in
Right.
me does not allow assets to sit with when they could be used. But I have not. I've helped people do it, but I have not personally done it. I'm not excited about doing it. I don't want to be in the hospitality business. I like to be like the lazy investor. I don't want to do extra work. I hate talking to tenants as it is. So I try and put in the best ones that I can and make the property as best I can. So I don't hear from them all year long. And if I have to talk to a new potential tenant or guest every 3 days and answer questions about how to turn the television on or where to go out to eat, I might shoot myself. So, even if I do Airbnb, they will definitely be managed by somebody else for
Someone else.
20%.
Yeah.
I don't care. But yes, no,
Yeah.
I have not.
Yeah. So I think Lars is watching the Iced Coffee Hour with Graham Stephan and Jack, because he's talking about something that Jack's looking at doing is Airbnb in a property he's in escrow on for the year so he can get bonus depreciation and then flipping it to long term. So again, there's some tax strategies out there. This is not my area of expertise, but again, yeah, there's lots of stuff out there.
Yeah, we
Josh
have
has a.
done.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say we have done the cost segregation on all of our houses. So
Yep.
that has helped.
Oh, big
That
time.
has helped like me not pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes. So, but
Yeah,
the
because
only kind of crap,
you qualify as
yeah,
a real estate professional, right?
right,
Blake makes the money. You qualify as a real estate professional. So it's his,
right.
you can shield some of his income, if not all of it. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. And so that has helped us not pay a lot of money. So the only kind of crappy thing I'll say about that is if you want to sell your properties, you have to pay that back.
Depreciation recapture. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yes. 1031.
no.
Casey, just 1031. You be good.
Yeah, true.
All right. Well, we were going to talk about homeschool, so we'll lean into that from a question from Josh. Do you incorporate real estate investing into your homeschool curriculum?
Yes. So not heavily now. My kids are still young. So my oldest is 14. She's going to be in high school this year. And then but she's not as interested in real estate. She says she wants to buy real estate. She wants to save up for her first property. And I go, great. Well, then you need to make some money. So right now we're working on how can she get some income so she can start saving for a property. We opened her up like a youth fidelity account. So she had like
Nice.
$2,000. We put her money in there. She can manage it herself. She can invest it in stocks or whatever. All the things is available to her. And we haven't ordered it yet, but she can even get a debit card. So all the kids these days have their own cards. And I'm not about that. But if you want to spend your own money, fine. But I'm not giving you my card. And I'm also not paying for that stupid green light card, whatever it is, where you have to pay a monthly fee to access money. That's stupid. Sorry if anybody's doing that. I don't mean to offend you. That's kind of the thing with these teenagers now is they have these green cards. Well, because a lot
Oh,
of
wow.
places are cashless. So if you go out with your friends and you go to the movies and you don't have a credit card, how are these kids supposed to pay for the movies or going out to eat when no one
Mm,
accepts cash anymore? So
interesting.
new problems, right? As they get older. So we're working on that with her. And my middle son, he'll be 12 in August, right? And he's more interested. So he will go with my husband to fix up properties. And so he's helped build cabinets and paint and do all of that. I really want him to learn a trade, even though I think I wish someone pushed me to not like arranged marriage, but like push me to like a degree, like, hey, you're gonna be this when you grow up. I would almost have really enjoyed having the stress taken off my back by saying, you're gonna go be this when you grow up. So I would love my son to be a real estate attorney because that's really easy. And I think that he could do that. So so he can be a real estate attorney and learn a trade because with AI, who knows? A lot of these things are going to be gone. So he needs to learn how to do electrical or plumbing's kind of gross. So we're working on that with him. He's going to be in middle school this year, but he's the most interested in houses. And so whenever we have a property to list, we always bring him along. And the last time with this last property that we listed for rent, we brought him along with an open house style. So we had the house all nice, little candle, and um, promoted open house online. And so we had people come in. And so he got to watch us interact with how do we talk to potential tenants and what questions do we ask. And then on the back of a piece of paper while we were waiting, I said, hey, look, this is how much money we're going to make from this rental property. Now, let's say you're 15, 16 and you get your first job. Now, we're in Tennessee, so minimum wage is like $7 and some cents. So you can get some cheap labor out here. Let's say you go work at McDonald's or you go work at Target. What are you going to make? $10 an hour? Okay, well, how long is it going to take you to make $400 making $10 an hour, having to go to work versus work on saving up, buy a rental property, and now you can make your $400 without having to go to work. So he's like, light bulbs are going off. And he's like, yeah, like, so he's more interested now that he sees how you can make money without having to work for it. You just have to front load the efforts, right? You got to work hard to get the property. But once you have it and your tenants in place, it's just kind of smooth sailing and you make more and more money as time goes on. So we kind of bring them in that way. Since we do renovate all of our own properties, they all do come. They all do come. Now, my daughter, now that she's 14, she can stay home alone and she can babysit. So we have let her kind of watch her two brothers, while we'll go do some things. So we don't take them all the time. But we do, as far as building, one thing that kind of bothered me, and if anyone has an advice, is my daughter said, Mom, when I grow up, I want to make money and not work like you. And I said, ooh,
Ouch.
Yeah. I mean, wow. So she doesn't really remember when she was little. Every night after Blake got home from work, we would go to the rental property and I would come home and he would stay there until 2 a.m. and get up and go to work the next day. Every weekend we would go to a rental property and renovate it. Grandma would come. I mean, my mother-in-law had a nice SUV and we would put our lawnmowers, lawn equipment, edger, all the tools. And her and I, when she was 60, we're doing major yard work. And the kids would have to bring snacks and games. Like, do you guys not remember that? Now you see me and Daddy just being at home all day long. So I think they miss the hard work part and they think we just make money without doing anything. So I'm trying to get that out of their mindset. So that's my hurdle of late.
So again, so she sort of looks at you as just having mailbox money and you don't work for it. That's what she
Yeah.
thinks right now. It just shows up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We got to
Wild.
fix
So
that.
we got to fix that. Yeah. That was a new thing. I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah. Mom and dad work a little bit harder than that. That's fun. But again,
Yeah.
that's really cool because again, right, I always tell people it takes 10 years to get wealthy. You're year 9, clearly there. But it can that snowball that goes down the hill, it does pick up momentum. And if her memory is short enough, I guess I can get how she got there. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah,
So we're working on that.
We'll go to Chris. He has a question. What is the best part about having properties next to each other? You have 3 of those. So what do you think? Do you like that? Is it just happenstance?
It just kind of happened. Now, all of our houses are pretty close. I mean, we're pretty lucky since we live near Memphis. They're all within 30 minutes or less. But as far as ones being right next door, really, there's been no normal benefit because we're never doing anything at both houses at the same time. So there's no real benefit. However, so the houses we have that are in sequential order, they're across the street on one of them. And when one tenant, they were new, they turned out not to be good. And I had this is the Hispanic neighborhood. So I had a Hispanic lady who speaks fluent Spanish help me place these tenants. And they were like misbehaving. Like they had a car auto repair shop in the driveway with cars lying down the street, fixing people's cars. She had an in-home daycare. Like it was no. So I didn't find out about that until my other tenant called me and said, hey, these people are doing XYZ. So then I got kicked out. So that was the benefit, was that you have people watching the other houses because they know. Now, I try not to get them to know. I don't really want them to know that I own multiple properties. So I always play poor, and woe is me too. And, and some of them are like behind each other. So they don't know, but they did know because they've been there a long time. So they knew. They've seen me go over there and the turnover. Yeah. And that one was my nightmare tenant property. So she remembers all that. But that would be the only real benefit. Otherwise, nobody really knows that I own them.
This question from Charles might be a lot of fun. I'll actually take a shot at answering this after you. Please describe your ideal realtor. Ooh.
Okay. So my ideal realtor. I have a good one in Ohio that I really like. And she's just like how I would be. So my ideal realtor would now she doesn't do this, but my ideal realtor would preview properties before I ever went. Now, if I live local, I would not want to go look at a property to walk right in the front door and turn right around and leave. So I would like my realtor to preview properties for me and only show me properties that absolutely fit my criteria for exactly what I wanted. So you have to train them and teach them. But over time, the realtor should only be bringing me properties that I want to make offers on. And they should be bringing me properties. Nobody does that anymore. Tell me which ones you want. Let me know. Send me a text. I'll be happy to go out and show me what you send me what you want. No, a good realtor, ideal, would also do the work and be looking for deals for me, be putting their ears out to the other agencies and their coworkers, seeing if people have deals coming on the market or know of any pocket listings or know of anything like that. They should also have the in with the wholesalers, the good wholesalers, not the wholesalers that took a $9.99 course and now think that they can be wholesalers and get rich quick tomorrow because they have no money and bad credit. Those people, you got to watch those wholesale deals. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to renovate a property and their numbers are all off. So if I had a realtor, a good one, that realtor would also know exactly what wholesalers are legit and good and keep me updated and go look at those dang properties too. I want as minimal amount of work involved. If the realtor is getting paid to do something, what are they doing besides showing me the house one time and doing a fill in the blank contract? You're going to get thousands of dollars for showing up to the house I sent you, filling in blanks that are kind of multiple choice questions. There's no thought. You're not really writing a contract. You are filling in the blanks. And then you're going to go to the home inspection and make a couple phone calls to the lender, and pretty much like that's it. So it's a few phone calls. You go to the property 3 times and you want thousands of dollars and you want me to tell you what property and you want me to tell you the comps and how much I should pay for. So, you know, I kind of not liking realtors very much, if you can tell. So I think that they are not doing as much as that they should be doing. And those are the things that I would like to see.
Yeah, I'll add on that. All those are all valid. I want the realtor to understand that I'm an investor, not a home buyer, right? I am
Yes.
numbers oriented only. I don't emotionally attach to this cute charmer that has this or that feature, right? I care about the numbers and numbers only. I built a Rolodex in Fresno when I was buying, very actively, and they knew that I could very likely write 10 offers in a day, and all they did is they just set up a template and they just changed the APN, the address, and the price, right? It got to be very simple for them, but they had to know that. I remember one realtor I worked with, Scott. He wrote up 100 offers for me before we got a deal done, right? Now again, it's very templatized. He told me in the beginning it was 5 minutes. He got it down to under 2 minutes. But they just got to understand it's part of the process, right? I'm going to buy the first deal that kind of hits my criteria. I love realtors that speak my vocabulary, right? Buy box, return, things of that nature. So all of those things. And then the last thing is speed, right? You don't have to call me, but you should be texting me, especially if deals come up. So very, very cool. We got our first hand raised. I love it. We got
Hi,
Jen.
Jen.
Jen raised her hand.
Hi, thanks for coming on. I mean, I feel like I have a lot of questions for you, but it'll probably be past the hour, so I'll
Go
keep
for it.
it short and simple. But I think I guess for you, it sounds like you're doing slow and steady, your own money, conventional. How do you navigate towards like everybody growing bigger and doing private money lending and partnerships? Kind of wanted to hear your insight about that and how you've stayed focused and like, are you planning to do that in the future after your 10 loans are gone? And I'm sure your social media presence, everybody wants to be your partner. Like, how have you decided to just do that? And like, what are you thinking is going to happen in the future? I have a lot of questions
That
for
would
you, actually.
I know that
But
that would be your pro. I mean, I know I could raise private money with my social media following, but like I said, I'm kind of lazy. And my opinion is real estate investing is investing money you have. It's not to create another job for yourself. So I never got into real estate so I could have another job that I had to work 40 hours for. I like sitting at home and swimming with my kids in my pool and doing homeschool all day long and teaching my 7-year-old how to read and do math. And that's what I really enjoy. I don't mind the slow and steady because I don't have to do extra work for it. So I will say though, it is intimidating, and I do feel like not worthy to like be on Zuber's channel and things like that, because I'm not those people. I'm not, let's scale, 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 and we're going to do everything with none of our own money and all of those things. And it does make me feel like inadequate. Oh, I'm not doing all those things. I should be a real investor. But when it push comes to shove, it's like, I just don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Now, we have millions of dollars in equity. I could cash out refinance. I could go buy lots more properties. I could go to, and maybe we will one day. But right now, our life is good and we have good money coming in. And, Blake's always like, let's pay off a couple of high interest rate loans. And one thing I think people don't talk about when it comes to real estate is you're not buying the property once, you're buying it 3 times, because you're buying it once for the purchase price. But if you actually look at how much loan interest you're paying over the life of the loan, it's a ton. So it's like, okay, well, if I just paid one of my high interest loans off first, I would make double the cash flow. And I'm not paying the bank all that extra money. Granted, yes, the tenants are really paying it, but more money in my pocket, I can save again faster. So that's another consideration, is just paying off all the properties and having a lot more income and being able to save again, 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 faster, faster, faster with all the extra income to then buy more, but then you have that peace of mind, because we are kind of low risk people. My parents, they were just regular, like middle class, and they never invested in anything. And so my mom had to work until she was late 60s. Like she wouldn't pass the driving test. Like she has all these vision problems now. And so she worked and would drive an hour and a half to work at some high desert hospital to be a nurse administrator until she was in her late 60s. And because she had to work, because she didn't invest and didn't save, because they took risks and they didn't pay off. So I'm very kind of risk averse in that sense, where I'm not wanting to put my money or risk it if it might not come back. And that's another reason why I have like these control issues, where I want to make sure that, I know it's stupid and I should let teams and do all these things, but I know what's going to happen when I do it, and it's going to work out. So would I like to scale? I mean, I don't know. We're thinking maybe now we might buy a business. Say, well, what else can we do if Blake doesn't have to work? He likes his job because he works with his best friend still, the same place, works from home, hasn't gone to the office in 5 years since COVID. He refused to take the shot, and he said, fire me, but I'm not taking the shot. And so they said, fine, you don't have to, but you can stay home. We're like, so we, it's like, okay, what's the next chapter of our lives? Like, we're in our 40s now. We could buy more rentals, which is on the docket to do. We could buy a dream home. We could buy a lake home. We could move. So we have all these moving parts. We could buy a business. We've been looking at buying businesses, something that we can do, because, to be honest, we get bored kind of at home, like get kind of bored. So we can't really take trips like Michael does, because we have little kids that have to go to school. They do sports. Now I homeschool, but they are going to go one day a week and do some enrichment activities. But otherwise, both my boys are in baseball. One boy's on 2 baseball teams. So the spring is like baseball. If any of you are baseball people, like that's it. So we can't like take these trips. So we're home all the time and we're kind of bored. So we need some more things to do. So it's like, what's our next chapter of our life going to do to occupy our time? And, it's like, not having to work is great, but you get bored. I don't think people think about that. Like, what are you going to do? Like,
well, let me just, so Casey, you're on the channel because you are the example, right? You and Blake are the example that I think benefits most people. So you don't ever have imposter syndrome or whatever you want to call that.
Thank you.
I want to celebrate the people that earn freedom with 9 units. I want to celebrate the people that do one a year for 9 years. That's what most people need to see as possible. And, oh, by the way, it ends well, right? The story ends well. Right, you're bored. Oh, I feel so bad for you. Right, you're bored because your money's covered. So, again, these are you are a shining star of the One Rental at a Time community, not an imposter. So if you have that feeling, don't have that feeling. Jen, did you have one more question?
No, I think I'm good. Thank you.
Sure. All right. Well, we're going to go to the cake method, and then we'll go to Lars after that. Mark's asked, can you explain the cake method, and then we'll go to Lars after that.
Sure. So the cake method is a method I developed after going through my tenant horror story. And basically the cake method is, when you do real estate, you can have your cake and you can eat it too. Okay. I will go through it. It has it's got things for every letter. But the bottom line is you don't have to do all this big stuff. You don't have to do bigger pockets, this, that, buy an apartment complex for your first deal and refi till you die and do all these things, doing cold calling and mailers. God, none of that's really required for real estate. It sells, it sells, it sells. And that's why people sell that. So the cake method is this. Personally, we want quality investment properties. I want an easy life. I don't want to have to do hardly any work. I want my properties to cash flow now and in the future, and I want them to always be going up with appreciation. So that's the goal. So the cake method means C is for choose a quality, well, it should be an asterisk, quality market. Quality is so paramount. So many people chase a shiny object, high cash flow, D-class neighborhoods in the ghetto part of town that require Section 8 or are very low income. You know, you're going to get air conditioner thefts and people leaving in the middle of the night and domestic violence and broken windows and doors and holes in the walls and just why would you want to do that? You know, and those properties are cheap because they don't appreciate. And if they don't appreciate, you're not able to raise the rents. And if you're not able to raise the rents, you're not able to cover your increasing home insurance, your increasing property taxes, which will still go up even if your value isn't going up very high, and the increase in just inflation of people charging more over time for things and materials costing more over time. You have to have appreciation, which means you have to be in a quality neighborhood. So choose a quality neighborhood is paramount. Quality over quantity. I'd rather have a few properties that cash flow really well, that have low turnover costs because my tenants touch up paint and leave my houses amazing and they are great communicators. They're people like us. I'd rather have that than something that's going to make me $600 a month in year one. Because the problem is people only look at year one cash flow. That's a big mistake. Well, isn't cash flow in what is the cash flow in year one? Oh, that's not enough. Oh, $300 a month, that's not enough. My deal, I get $800 a month year one. Good freaking luck in year five. Okay, because my year five properties do cash flow $800. Some of them do year one because I take on bigger, like more renovation projects, add more money in the deal. My cash on cash returns are not amazing, but guess what? I'm investing into real estate. I'm not getting a job so I can buy and sell and refinance and do all these things. I want quality properties that appreciate. I want quality tenants to take care of my investment. So C, choose a quality neighborhood. A, add value. You can add value through forced appreciation or just let time do its thing. K is keep it, right? Let's just do 30-year fixed loans, okay? We don't need to do 10-year. 10-year or 5/1 arms. People are drowning right now that did 5-year thinking rates are going to go down and their rates are up. And I'm seeing some properties for sale. I'm like, why is that for sale? Oh, that's why. And you can go to I think it's homes.com and you can look and see what everybody's loan rates are. So if you want to know what someone's paying for their interest rate, you can find out. So C, A, K, and E is earn. There are more than one ways to earn with real estate. It's not just monthly cash flow. Don't forget, you are getting someone's entire rental amount. Someone's paying you a whole rental amount. You're earning cash flow over time, appreciation over time, net worth, all that. So the cake method is quality properties so that you can grow with your properties and you'll make more and more and more and more and more money over time. Easy, simple, doesn't have to be fancy.
Yeah, low stress, quality over quantity, one a year. There's nothing wrong with it. Again, shining star of the community. Let's go to Lars, got his hands up. This might be the last question as I do have a 9 o'clock. So Lars, go ahead.
Hi, yes. So my question is, the last property I just bought in a new area because the area I was investing in wouldn't make sense for new rentals. I want to keep the ones I'm at. So I stepped into it. However, I went with the repairs that were identified in the inspection. And I kind of budgeted, okay, 30 to 45 days to make the repairs and, $10K. Fortunately, the property appraised for $34K more than what I paid for it. However, there's been some unforeseen, repairs that came up from heavy rains, having to do a sump pump and French drain. And turned out the inspection didn't identify all the wiring problems. I had to rewire the whole house, which is taking place right now. You get the idea. I'm not saying woe be me, but you get the idea. So when you get an inspection, how much more do you add on to repairs identified in the inspection do you use for your budget? Because now I'm kind of coming across I mean, the inspection was there for me, and I don't know. I feel I'm sure he did what was required by law, but obviously me not being there, I don't know. I gotta come up with a better process for inspections when I buy the next property. That's for sure,
So
especially with older homes. So,
I think it's just going to be experience who's going to lead you down the right decisions moving forward, because all of those things I would have probably figured out before I got in contract. I don't even pay for home inspections anymore. I mean, if I were to buy some massive mansion or something, I obviously can't get on the roof myself. But you learn to understand negative draining, negative slope, and is my basement or house going to flood, and you can see all those things. You end up becoming the professional inspector, and you do that through experience and just buying properties. So some of those things, like the whole house wiring, like why did you have to do that,
the reason why is because I asked for some overhead lighting and to be added, and then went up to the attic, discovered that there was knob and tube from the 1800s going down into both sides of the duplex that the inspector
yeah,
didn't catch, or obviously not the appraisal, but the inspector didn't catch or
yeah.
whatever. So
So you'll
that's
know
life.
now to look for knob and tube. And like that's one of the things that I look for. And if I see that, I build in that I have to get the electrical panel upgraded. Now I've never rewired a whole house, but I have upgraded electrical panel or put the little purple wire nuts,
Mhm.
to, on all the outlets. We've done those sorts of things. But I think you just make your list of all the things that you need to look for. And when you do the showing, before you even make an offer, go look for all that stuff first. You should not be having to rely really on the home inspector.
Yeah, you know
So
what I
Eventually,
what I would do in a situation like this, because it sounds like you're in one state and this is in a new area, so you going there
mhm.
is
Okay,
impractical.
I didn't get that
I
one. Sorry.
I would I would definitely um, pay for or force the inspectors to look at what you want. So most inspectors, when they go out, to your point, they have a checklist. They go through what's legally required. However, you as a buyer can add extra things like go to the attic and check for knob and tube. And again, if you're buying in cities or towns where homes are 100 years old, just expect it.
Yeah.
Unless the owner of the home says they rewired it and here's my bill for it, expect knob and tube. Expect poor drainage. So I would, again, if you're in California and you're buying in Ohio or any of these other areas, just add to your checklist of things to look for. Like, please go, like that way you can hold them accountable, right? If you ask for and you pay an extra $100 or $50 or whatever it is, to look for knob and tube, and he says it's not there, and then later you find it is there, well, that's a material breach. So again, these are things you need to add to your checklist, and I'm sorry it happened to you, but hopefully others watching this can add it to their list so they don't make that same mistake.
And I have a list and I do look at it because you might forget something. So I do look over my list to see that I check all these things before I made an offer.
Yeah, very,
Well,
very fair.
fortunately, it was on a cheap property, so it wasn't anything
And,
too bad.
and you bought
But
it
the
right.
odd thing
You
is the
clearly bought it right.
electrical panel was updated, so that's the weird thing about it, right?
Yeah, panels versus
Mhm.
wiring. Those are two different. The one's a junction
Yeah.
box, and the other's the inside the walls. But yeah, I have had to rewire. Gosh, I bet you I bought 5 properties with knob and tube over the years. Yeah, that stuff's just got to go. It's horrible. But Lars, thank you very much. Casey, people can find you Brick by Brick Wealth, Instagram. Again, daily posts on Instagram, a couple videos a week on YouTube. Give us your closing thoughts, Casey, as we wrap this up.
Closing thoughts. Thanks everyone for having me. I really enjoyed being here. If anyone's looking for their first rental and they are doing coaching, I only coach new investors. So you can see what I've got for you on my website. Otherwise, just taking a lot of information and, just take action. This is the best time to buy real estate, really, that we've seen. And I know you hear that from every real estate agent, investor, every single day of your life, but this really is a good time, in my opinion. So jump in there. You're going to learn more by doing. Find someone to help you if it's your first deal. If it's not your first deal, I'm glad you're in this group.
There you go. Casey, you're amazing. Thank you for spending some time with us this Sunday. And we're going to see you in Vegas for year 3, right?
Of course. Of course.
There you go. Thank you.
Absolutely. Can't
Take
wait.
care. Huh? Later. Later, everyone. Peace.